I couldn't begin to tell you how to do one. But I've seen people do it. I've got no problem with people doing deadlifts as long as they respectfully like put it back down on the ground, because part of like the exercise is the control to put it back down onto the ground, and that also uses muscles and control and stuff to get it back down. Whereas like at the gym I was going to, basically all the deadlifters in like the section I was in, they would just drop it from like their hip height and just let it slam. And there were literal indents in the ground and stuff. And I was just like, I don't know, and just shake my head kind of thing, because they're wasting half the exercise for starters. That was my main gripe. And also it was loud as fuck. Like I couldn't tune it out with music and stuff. But yeah, I did bench press at 55 kilos and I was working my way up to 60 kilos for that. I never hit 60 because I obviously injured my back, neck, and hip, and like was like left with permanent injuries from a workplace, so that completely stopped everything. But I used to do that. I used to not do like, I think I used to do 2 sets of like 10 to 15 of almost anything and everything. So it was not really like 15 to 20 is kind of like your long sets, 5 to 10 is kind of like your short sets, and I was kind of like in the middle. So I wasn't going for like bulk, and I also wasn't going for ropey muscles either. My back, I think my back was like 75 kilos that I was doing like this arm thing above my head that I'd pull down to about my chest. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like lateral pull downs or some shit like that, but I was up to doing 35 kilos single arm on that. My biggest problem with that machine was that it was really, really high up, so I had to like lock my legs in and stand up to grab it and pull it down to start my exercise. So I could never go really heavy with it because I couldn't secure myself in the seat to begin with. And I didn't have anybody spotting me and stuff, so that kind of sucked as well. Whereas now my leg weights are where we got serious. So I was doing 400 kilo leg weights, like leg press, and I was doing, I think it was 200 and somewhere between 240 and up on single leg press, because I remember going through like, I'd go in like lots of 20s. And so I think I'd start with like, I was starting with 240 for like a warm up. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've been doing my weights, but I do remember like the maximums of them. It was just like 400 was the max I got to. Then I chipped a toe bone and stuff. The only reason why I went up to 400 on the leg press was my brother was super like lean, could never build muscle, could never gain fat, and he was doing 400 kilo leg press, and I called bullshit. I said that wasn't physically possible. So I went and did it. And yeah, it's possible. But I also had like relatives and stuff call bullshit, and they're like, oh, it must be pounds, not kilos and stuff, because, you know, pounds are double that. So I had like a lot of like family and stuff like downplay what I was able to do and stuff, and it was kind of like shit. But I actually had like, I've had multiple people bear witness to it, at least at the gym and stuff. The funniest part is my fucking accountant actually knew me from the gym as well. So I never paid attention to anybody there, but apparently he recognized me from then, so that was funny. That was one of those, like, why are you staring at me? And he's like, your eyes are really, really familiar. I'm like, okay. And he's like, did you go to this gym? And I'm like, yeah, I did. And he's like, oh, I know you. You're the one that was always on the fucking weights machines. I'm like, yeah, because at the gym that I went to, it wasn't like segregated in like male or female areas, but like the ladies kind of really didn't go into the weights area almost at all. And so it was really obvious, like when I was in there, I kind of stood out a little bit, unfortunately, because it was also like its own section around the corner. It was nice. It was kind of more private in that way that like it wasn't the first thing you saw when you walked into the place. The cardio area was, and I hated that. I hated doing cardio. Mind you, I had asthma. I do still have asthma, so I fucking hated it. So I'd be like, I'd be fine on the weights machine, and then I'll walk over to the treadmill, and I'd sound like, I don't know, like a 50-year-old dog that's like failing to go for its last walk of its life, you know, like the mercy put down kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I also did do a lot of just general walking before Pokemon and stuff as well. I did, like, we have like a 7.5 kilometer walk around here. Because I moved back to the area I kind of grew up in, but I used to go for like a 7.5 kilometer walk, and I used to get it down to about 50 odd minutes. So I always just tried to make it faster and faster and stuff. And sometimes I'd run it a bit, but I'd run up the hills. That was actually a little bit easier than running down them. I felt unstable running down the hills around here because it's insanely hilly. I'm still newbie to weightlifting. Most ever lifted deadlift was 90 kilos with a trap bar. See, I've got like no concept of like wherein that starts and goes from and stuff. I will hydrate drill. Thank you, hold on. I don't know if I can run an extra ad, but I'll have a look. Hold on. I can. Alright, this extra ad is brought to you by Droll. And I'm surprised you haven't requested the timeout, because like you always request being timed out. But, alright. I'll have to check. I am prawning a bit. I'm prawning because of the cold. But, I'm sitting up better now. Oh man. I'm waiting for Pidgeotto to get another level. But, leg press is so satisfying. Leg press is amazingly satisfying. The other thing too is the gym that I used to go to had 2 different kinds of leg press machines. So there was one where you kind of like, your back would be up against a plate and you would like press yourself up to standing. I could never fucking use that thing. I couldn't figure out how to get it working. I could also never get anybody to like come over and just like take a minute to show me and stuff, and like unless like I wanted to pay a personal trainer for just showing me that, it was kind of a waste. So whereas we had the other leg press machine, which is where you kind of like sit almost like reclined back on like, you know, the 90-degree angle sort of thing, but not like to the floor or anything. There's like a halfway between that. And then your legs would go up and you'd press the thing away from you. That's the one we had. I quite liked it. There we go. Alright, well, I gotta get Charm that level now, so let's swap out Charm. And then I'll go get you all healed. Because we should be able to kill off anything first go with just Charm. Hopefully, as long as it's not taking a hit, we should be able to do this. But yeah, I miss being able to do that, because when I got injured, even just carrying like a basic grocery bag was too much. Like, you know, go to a store and go get yourself some groceries and kind of like walk out with that. Like, it was normally too heavy. It would cause pain. Obviously, I've had like quite some years since that. I've gone through like physio and other stuff and learnt to adapt and learnt how to like pick up and carry things in a different way that doesn't like cause pain and stuff. But I still do experience like pain and discomfort and, well, specifically chronic pain. But my hip, I don't know if I could safely use a leg press machine, because every so often, like if I turn my hip at like a right angle to get out of a seat, get up off a seat, generally what happens is every so often, not every single time, but every so often, when I turn, like pivot my hip to like that right angle out sideways, it pops the fucking hip joint out like into the wrong spot, and I've got like a bit of bone chip in the socket that like grinds away at the cartilage. So I don't think it would be safe for me to do leg press anymore. But like walking and shit, that's all fine. I know that eventually one day I'll probably get like a fucking hip replacement or something, and I wouldn't advise doing like, you know, weights on that, because those things are only for like so long and shit. Oh my god, if this thing kills me, we gotta go back and heal charm, because I don't have any potions. I couldn't afford potions until I beat Misty last time. I don't know if I can get out of the grass safely. Oh well, I'll have to bring out Pidgeotto. Like, there's a good chance I could set it on fire, but I know that I don't have any ember left, so we'll see how we go. But yeah, I miss my weightlifting. That was probably the hardest part of having all my permanent injuries and stuff. That was like something I had to go through, like dealing with some like heavy depression and stuff from, because obviously like it was something I was deeply passionate about and enjoyed. It was also something that was like a healthy kind of like stress relief, and I had like a pretty intense like job at the time and stuff. And yeah, I also at the time had wanted to become a personal trainer as well, since it was something that I enjoyed doing and I enjoy helping people and stuff. So, you know, generally speaking, like using my knowledge to like, I don't know, help others achieve what they're trying to do and stuff would have been nice. But yeah, I had to go through like a lot of that, a lot of accepting that that's no longer a path in life and stuff, and that like my primary like enjoyment hobby was gone, especially since like I spent a lot of my free time in the gym, because like I said, I was there like before work, after work. I was there on Saturdays. It was closed Sundays, so I'd go for a walk instead. I had like various weights and all sorts of stuff around my house, and like the only thing I have done since then is that at one point in time I did buy a treadmill, so that I have like at least, you know, I could do exercise within my house, especially since like I got Crohn's disease and stuff. So there was a period of time where I couldn't exactly just go for a walk. I always needed to be near bathroom facilities for a few years there. But yeah, I've got that in my house at least. I have been extremely lazy for the last year and not using it. I remember somebody kept asking me if I'd done my walking and stuff, and the only reason why I stopped was not this year, but last summer was insane. It was really, really hot, and all the air conditioners in the house died, and I was advised for medical reasons not to do any kind of like exercise and stuff and put my body under strain and shit, because like, yeah, it was just really, really fucking hot. And I was actually also advised to like wait a few months before getting like my regular tests and shit done, just to make sure I was good enough for it and stuff, you know. What's that? Oh yeah. If you're trying to like shorten my name, it's not going to go through. It's acrylic. I saw something ping then, and I'm like, that's probably normally when it's a new face in here, it's usually somebody's trying to shorten acrylic. It's just not known yet. It's all good. When I started streaming, I considered putting up like, well, I didn't get channel points initially when I started streaming. Obviously, I had to like wait 6 months or so until I got like affiliate and shit. But like, I initially considered putting up like exercise redeems and stuff like that, although I wasn't in like the best of health, because I came out of a mental break, like a 2-year mental break, when I started streaming. So I wasn't in the best place, but also like, I didn't think that I could handle doing like the exercise, as well as like if I had to do any kind of like extra, if I had to stop and do something, like some people stop and they do push-ups or crunches or squats and stuff like that, like if I had to stand up and do some kind of exercise, I'd need the bathroom midstream at that time. Like, I'm doing a lot better health-wise now. I can handle most of a stream without needing a bathroom break, which is great. Great progress. Thumbs up, everybody. But like on the flip side, like if I had to do something like push-ups, I'd need to wash my hands because of OCD, hygiene, hand washing reasons, which means that it wouldn't just be like, go do that. It would be like an added like 3 to 5 minutes I disappear from stream and stuff. So that's why I don't have those. But I considered it because from like a health perspective, I don't mind being challenged and stuff to doing stuff. But it also depends on how I have to prove it or prove that I'm doing it. Plus, like some of you have heard me when I've like run off to do something and I've come back like breathy and I'm like, it's a little awkward when I'm sitting here huffing and puffing, you know. We're getting redeemed for like to walk 500 kilometers. Is that kilometers or is that kilometers? I was gonna say my brain's just like shat itself for a second there, but I'm pretty sure like kilometers and kilometers are like same shit, different day, just different way of saying it, right? Or am I thinking of like, is it a different measurement here? Because I don't know what it is about Pokemon. There's certain games I just can't do maths. Pokemon is one of them. I think because there's like so much going on, I just don't register stuff. I also don't know if Charm got the extra level then. I don't know what they did. Or if we were going for 27. I guess I can see how long we've got to the next stats. Although, to be fair, with like walking... There we go. Okay. I didn't miss anything. Let's go get you healed up and let's go fight Misty. So with like distance walking and stuff like that, like I considered if I had like a Fitbit and stuff like that to like make a community group and stuff like that. It's just my only concern is I don't know how much information it shares and activities and times, locations, stuff like that. That's my only concern with it. But apart from that, like, I don't know, I had considered, I don't know, making some kind of like a distance type thing or whatever at one point and being like anybody that wants to like walk competitively or something could keep up and shit. But I just couldn't figure out how to like get it measured and how to make it like legit and fair and stuff, you know? Because like for anybody that's new and that doesn't know, like I do give like a genuine crap about like keeping my privacy and stuff like that, for as long as like, you know, can, because it's one of those things where eventually I won't have it and it'd be nice to keep like everybody I care about, you know, safe and shit. Because, you know, I am on the internet and not everybody on the internet is like, you know, good people and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I'd set that up. Let's get my Pokemon back in their order and I'll go fight Misty. And also let's get you a legit save. We'll get a save in here, since apparently you don't save this. Cool. And let me get the other emulator save. Because I can't hit the fucking button to auto save it because it's my mute mic button. So it takes me like an extra second, you know. Now we've already heard everything she's got to say, so what are you saying? Back when I had a job, I won a group bicycle challenge because the car went out and I spent every evening rolling out around town, every weekend going interesting places. It was rather expensive because I had to stop and eat everywhere, anywhere that looked interesting. No regrets whatsoever. It sounds like it was a good time though. Like, I've considered like having a bicycle and stuff. I briefly had one, but like bicycles around here are kind of expensive and like I would also need one. Well, hardest part around this area is it's hilly as shit and I'm not near anything, so it doesn't really help too much. Like I can still like walk to the shops and crap like that, but it's going to take a while, you know. I do have a car, it just doesn't work at the moment. It's broken down. I've got my partner's car I can borrow if I need to, but Yeah. The bicycle's also got me for like the storage of when I'm not using it at a location as well. Like, I don't know how to verify that it's still going to be there when I get back to it, you know? But, I don't know, walking is just something I find like semi-therapeutic, you know? I think what's wrong with the car. A couple of years ago, I went to drive out to our friend's place and I was accelerating up one of the hills in the area and it was losing power as I was accelerating, which should just be like the, what do you call it? There's a high pressure hose in the car that constantly keeps going. It keeps breaking and needing to be replaced. So I'm guessing it's just that broke again. But yeah, every time I went to accelerate, the car lost like acceleration and stuff. So since we were going for a drive to somewhere where it would be quite costly to get a tow truck if my car didn't start again, I drove it back home. We parked it. We knew that there was a problem, but I also knew that I couldn't drive it to a mechanic because I'm not near any, which means I would have needed a tow truck, which meant I was looking at about probably $300 to get it to a mechanic to find out what was wrong. If it was going to be the high power hose, it was probably going to be about another $600. We just didn't have that, plus whatever labor and stuff, right? I think Pidgeotto just killed everything. Which go Pidgeotto. I didn't even get to use my fire, but that's fine. There's the money we need though. We'll go get some potions, Pokeballs and shit. Up to level 30. Well, we got like a level 27, so yeah, that's a little bit of an issue. But yeah, because of those rough costs at the time, I was unemployed and we couldn't afford it. And I think we had some other shit go wrong because shit always goes wrong. Basically what basically happens is every year, no matter how much we put money aside and save, something breaks, something like needs to be repaired or replaced or whatever, to about the same value as about whatever we've put aside and saved. Almost exact money. So anyway, we couldn't afford it. Then before we knew it, 6 months had passed and then a year had passed. All my tires are flat, which is not great for obviously like the fucking car itself. And if I was to get it towed, it's in a garage with flat tires and its battery's probably flat. And so now we're looking at some serious costs, especially since there's also been fuel sitting in it for over a year. Plus its oil hasn't pumped through it for over a year. So not the best. It's probably going to cost us a bit to get it fixed. But it does strike me that every time I fix this fucking high pressure hose, it still breaks. Like I've used secondhand ones, like I've used different mechanics, I've used like brand new ones. The other thing too is my car is a 6-cylinder V6 and stuff. So the other problem I've got is that it's a rare car and there are not spare parts for it in Australia. So if something breaks, I normally have to get something forged for it. And a lot of the time it's usually really expensive. Like for instance, the, what do you call it? I think the pistons are fucking platinum and shit. So like anything that gets replaced is like expensive. Plus I also need to replace its like headlight as well because the truck backed into it. So I need to get that and some panel repair done and shit. So this is my enemy Cobra. Yo, you're still struggling along back here. I'm doing great. I caught a bunch of strong and smart Pokemon. Yeah, let me see what you caught. Yeah, right, let's go, mate. I'm pretty sure oh, you know what I've got to do before I fuck off too is I've got to buy potions. We've got to go back and buy potions after this battle. So here's hoping we fight him. It'll tell me what the average of my level should have been. Okay, an 18. No, we're good. We're good. Oh man, keep mine in my apartment. I should have no trouble selling it. Situation with the apartment complicates. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's more so like if I was to take a bike, if I had a bike, if I was to take it somewhere and park it, I would be concerned about people like fucking around with it or a bird shitting on it or somebody like, you know, stealing stuff off it and all sorts of stuff, you know, that kind of stuff. That's more what I'm concerned about, you know, especially any kind of open vehicle as well, or mode of transport that like allows for like, I don't know, gross open air to get at things or people to touch stuff. I've seen so many people walk past like cars and bikes and bicycles and all sorts of stuff, like literally, let's get out charm. I've seen them literally walk past and like touch like the handles and like see if the car will open, see if it's locked, like pose on stuff and pretend that, you know, it's theirs for 5 minutes and stuff like that. So I'm just like, please don't touch my shit. That's the OCD side of me being like, don't touch my shit. I don't want to clean it, you know. Just took my scones out of the oven. That's been a bit overlong. They're slightly browner than I'd like, but a good breakfast. Nice. Yeah, no, I think like slightly over is a bit better than slightly under when it comes to scones. Especially since they should be like nice and toasty inside. So like anything you put in that, like butter and shit, it's gonna melt nice. But yeah, I'd like to have another crack at making scones. I'll probably have another go at it around summer. I'm also gonna try to turn my mulberries into jam again this year. I'm gonna try harder to do better with that because I made more of a syrup than I made a jam last year. It was good, don't get me wrong. It was fucking good. But like, yeah. I would like to make it a bit like thicker, less runny. I've kept some like bigger coffee jars this time to jam it. I'm not really one that like enjoys cooking and shit. Like I have a 50% ratio of if I try to cook something and I have, let's say, 2 pans or 2 trays or something like that, and they're going into the same oven at the same time, and half the ingredients, like, literally cut down the middle in each tray, one will come out amazing and one will come out borderline inedible. Like, basically, like, no flavor, bad texture, like, really bad. Like, I did a potato bake at Christmas, and I had enough to put into 2 trays, and I swapped them over on the trays halfway through. So it was nothing to do with placement in the oven, because they got equal time, and they were from the same ingredients. And one came out amazing, and one came out like a soup. And apparently potato bake soup is actually kind of alright, because it's like a potato bacon, cheesy potato bacon soup, sort of. Hey, take it easy. You won already. Damn right I won. I won with so much fire. My Pokemon were a lot higher level than they really should have been for that. Hey, guess what? I went to Bill's and got him to show me his rare Pokemon. That added a lot of pages to my Pokedex. After all, Bill's world famous as a Pokemaniac. He invented the Pokemon storage system on PC. If he's using his system, go thank him. I better get rolling. Smell you later. I can't see why he'd tell me to go see Bill, though. You know? Anyway, let's go buy some shit that I forgot to buy before. Oh, I like to eat more than I cook, but I don't have anyone to cook for me. So if I want to eat good, then I have to cook. Yeah, see, I can't stand cooking. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy, like, any part of it. So, like, before my partner and I were together, I kind of would just kind of come home and, like, slap some, like, lamb or pork chops or something like that in the oven on, like, a piece of alfoil and leave it ovening for, like, 50 minutes. And then I'd come back and eat it. And that's as much cooking as I really did. Like, I might put seasoning on it, maybe. I see you, Mum. What are you wiggling at me and running around? What's this craziness? But yeah, that's pretty much all I'd cook. Like, I didn't even cook sides or anything. I'd just eat that with some sauce on it. Or applesauce or something. Because I'm like, is good enough. You know? Now, I've only got 4, so we want 4. Yep. And let me get some potions. Now, I know we're going up through some bullshit territory, so I'm getting some extra potions. Last time I didn't have the potions, and we went up and through where we're going, and that was a mistake. Realistically, I should get an antidote. Nah. Oh, I just can't go wrong with potatoes. Yeah, see, I didn't cook potatoes either until like more recent years as well. So that was really weird for me too, because like, I don't know, I just didn't do them. There's a lot of like, I don't know, sides and stuff to food that I just didn't do. I probably should have. But I just never... I pretty much moved out of home when I was 18 and had no concept of how to cook. Right? I could make a toasted cheese sandwich, and what else could I do? I'm also not rereading any of their shit because I've already done this once. Until we're going down towards SSN, we're good for conversation from these guys. How you going, Mup? What are you up to? Yeah, I don't know. I could make a lot of like stuff that didn't involve heat. That was kind of the best way to put it. I might actually mow you down with Pidgeotto, and then I might I'll swap Charm over because I don't really like that they're not first to front. But yeah, basically because I couldn't cook, I made like a lot of salads and stuff. I liked making a lot of like Mediterranean-esque kind of salads. I liked making like various like fruit salads and stuff with berries and shit. Have like toast, stuff like that. I'd have a lot of soup because it was in a can. Like it came in a can. So I didn't really have to worry too much about like fucking that up. I just had to heat it up in a microwave and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really go too far with like figuring out how to cook stuff. Like even following from a recipe and stuff, I would kind of fuck it up. Following from a recipe, not following from a recipe, doesn't really matter. I'll mess it up. I'm pretty much always just hungry, so I think it's an investment of energy, yields good returns. I think for me, because the investment of energy isn't worth it 50% of the time, because 50% of the time it turns out inedible, right? So I could put a lot of effort into something, time, effort, money, and it could be just a complete waste, you know? Like, I do not know how I can do it, but I have this ability to just completely neutralize flavors in things, and when you can't, like, taste or smell the food anymore, and it's just texture's shit a lot of the time. I'm not going to use my fucking fire on everything in here because I know I need it for later up against, like, all the fucking bug catcher Pokemon people in the corner, you know, so we'll see. Mostly just wanted to pop in and say hi. I'll have to lurk now. No worries, Mum. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, so I watched my mother cook, but deliberately not learn to cook because she was very good at cook, and I would eat worse if I tried to get involved. It was not a good decision in the long term, but I managed. I'd like to get an Eateran. Actually, I think they're alright. Yeah, see, we weren't allowed in the kitchen growing up, like when my mum would cook and stuff, and we weren't allowed to use the stove, or we definitely weren't allowed to use the grill, but we weren't allowed to use the stove when she wasn't home. We weren't allowed to cook unless it was something she really didn't want to make. So, like, I learned how to bake with my grandma, but baking's more of a science. You follow the exact recipe, measurements, weight, all that sort of stuff. It's hard to fuck up, like, baking, right? Unless you, like, aren't measuring stuff properly. But then, like, other stuff, like cooking other stuff, like, I'd help if my dad wanted to make a dessert. I'd help and stuff. but like that was one of the few times that like he'd cook and stuff. Because whenever he got a chance to cook, all he wanted to do was make like a big, like, we're Australian, but he wanted to make like a big English breakfast for dinner because that's what he enjoyed. My mum fucking hated it, so she never let him cook. Whereas like, yeah, we just didn't learn. We weren't allowed to. Once we were in our teens, we were allowed to boil the jug and use the microwave, but like only for like instant noodles kind of thing, or heating up a bowl of soup. That's why I said like I moved out without knowing how to cook. So if I wanted to make like peanut cookies, I could cook those for sure. Cupcakes, yes. Apparently I've forgotten how to make cupcakes because the cupcakes that I made back at Christmas time were very flat. I'm not even joking. They didn't go upwards. They just went outwards. It was very special, unique.